Hello everybody and welcome back to another online Chinese history class with me, Tony. Last class we talked about the termination of Western Zhou and the start of Eastern Zhou, a new era. King Ping, the first king of Eastern Zhou, needed help, so he sought out Duke Zhuang. However, as time went by, Duke Zhuang started to pull the strings and take control. The king was on a fake throne and had no power to do anything about it. However, the next king, who was King Ping's grandson, King Huan, planned to end this. He wanted to be brave, like what his grandfather was not able to do. He wanted to raise his family's honor again and bring down the true king who operated behind the scenes. He wanted to restore his throne. And what do you think happened when King Huan tried to take Duke Zhuang down? Do you think this ended well? I'll give you a bunch of selections, so you don't have to think up anything. Well, A. Duke Zhuang heard of this and sent assassins to kill King Huan before he could gather up power and forces. Then he made himself the king to prevent anything like this to happen again. B. Duke Zhuang sent assassins to kill King Huan and enforced himself as the king, same as option A. However, the difference is that the civilians realized that Duke Zhuang had basically betrayed the entire Zhou dynasty in making himself the king, and rose up against him to take him down, ending Eastern Zhou. C. King Huan gathered his own personnel troops that he had control of, though it pales in comparison to what Duke Zhuang had command over, which was the entire army of the Zhou dynasty. Since he was at a serious disadvantage, he also allied with 3 royal princes and their armies helped them. He was ready to face Duke Zhuang. Or D. King Huan gathered his own personal troops and allied with the 3 royal princes and their armies, same as option C. However, the royal princes betrayed King Huan and joined with Duke Zhuang to rule the Zhou dynasty. Or E. King Huan gathered his own personal troops that he had control of. However, they were secretly working for Duke Zhuang. King Huan was assassinated after that, and his son became the next king. His son was just a small child, a baby, so he has no memory of what happened. This ensured that Duke Zhuang still had control behind the scenes. There's 5 options in this question, so I'll give you some time to think. Alright, time's up. The correct answer was C. King Huan gathered his own personal troops that he had control of, but it wasn't enough to overpower Duke Zhuang. In fact, it was much less than what the Duke had command over, which was the entire Zhou army. Since he was at a serious disadvantage, he allied with 3 royal princes and their armies. He thought that he was ready to face Duke Zhuang. Normally, I'd say that his plan was simple, but there really wasn't a plan. It was more of a hope. King Huan thought that he only needed to lead his army to face off Duke Zhuang's army and bring himself forward to give a speech about all the wrongs that Duke Zhuang committed and accuse him of betrayal. He thought that there was no need for bloodshed or any fighting, and should it occur, Duke Zhuang would get terrified after the speech, and his army, seeing that they have an unfit leader, would turn on him. If he tried to battle or send his army out, they just wouldn't listen and would bring him in instead. Duke Zhuang would be arrested, maybe even executed, according to what King Huan wants. What do you think are the chances of that actually happening? Well, all I know is that the speech did not go the way King Huan thought it would go. Duke Zhuang's army absolutely destroyed King Huan. They did not pay any attention to the speech at all. They did not care. They overpowered him by numbers and brute force. Even though King Huan got 3 royal princes on his side, it did not matter at all. He was shot by an arrow and escaped back to a near city, losing all of his power and becoming his grandfather, completely under the control of Duke Zhuang. It was ironic. He gave a speech about Duke Zhuang's betrayal, but was defeated by the army that belonged to the dynasty that he ruled. In a sense, the entire the entire dynasty had betrayed him. This arrow that was shot into King Huan symbolized the ending of a once ordered age where the king of Zhou, the descendant of heaven, had control over everything. Do you remember the pyramid of feudalism? The top layer was not the king anymore. It was the start of a new age where royal princes and people who were under the rank of the king of Zhou had actual control. Do you remember when the royal princes had to be relatives of the king? Yet that was over too. Not many actual relatives remained, and many of those who were in charge weren't a part of the same family. So they just removed that system because they weren't even operating by it by then. There were a lot of royal princes because of this, but they couldn't all have equal power. That's why there rose 5 hegemons who stood higher than the other royal princes. And we'll be talking about them next class. That's going to be it for today. See you next time.